everyone, welcome. My name is Dana. I was born and raised in Kentucky in the United States, and I make videos to help you learn English through American culture and everyday life. Yes, and today I'm gonna make another sort of impromptu casual video. That means no script, it's just gonna be me just talking freely about some topic. Today's topic is going to be about language learning. Yes, language learning. I think that's something most of you are interested in since my videos are English kind of learning material. But actually the reason I chose this topic is because a couple people have asked me in the comments how I studied Japanese. And I thought, yeah, even though Japanese and English are totally different languages, it might be helpful for some of you to hear or see how I have studied. It might be interesting or useful, so I decided to talk about that today. So we're going to go back to when I was in high school first to talk about this, because I actually studied French in high school. Okay, so this is not related to Japanese, but I just want to share the kind of full story, all of the languages I've studied, and how my interests changed over time. So the first foreign language I learned was actually French. Yeah, for 4 years in high school. I was really into it at that time. I even went to France on a school trip. But at the time, I was kind of interested in Japan, but they didn't have Japanese class at my high school. So I just took French. And, we studied grammar, vocab, I had homework. It was really a traditional sort of the classroom style learning. I wasn't really studying much outside of those classes. So for 4 years, I studied French. And I realized, learning a foreign language is pretty fun. But I had always been interested in Japan. Japanese is what I really wanted to study. So after high school, I started to study Japanese by myself. This will give away my age, but I don't really care. That was about 10 years ago. Okay, so 10 years ago, that's when I started studying Japanese. And as I said, I was just studying by myself. When you first start a foreign language, especially if you're studying by yourself, you kind of have no idea what to do, right? I don't have a teacher. I don't have any textbooks. What should I do? So for Japanese, I thought I should learn kanji, vocab, and grammar. These are the 3 things I started with. Of course, hiragana, katakana, the other alphabets as well, but kanji, much more complicated. So I started making flashcards to learn kanji. So I would write some part like hito, mizu, whatever, some simple kanji or simple character like that. I'd write on one side of the card, and on the other side, I'd write the English equivalent, the English word. And I would just study that by myself. That's crazy, right? That sounds super boring, but I was really into flashcards at that time. I did the same thing for vocabulary, I made vocab flashcards. So yeah, I just studied the basics by myself like that, writing same kanji, mizu, 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 over and over on a piece of paper. I don't know why, but I really enjoyed that at the time. And I'm glad I did, because that helped me build a strong base for reading. Not so much writing, I can't write very well, but strong base for reading Japanese. As for grammar, this is a little bit harder, so I did end up using a textbook. I do think for grammar, you need some kind of structure to follow. You need some example sentences, exercises. It's better to have something like that. So I started using a textbook. Actually, I did take Japanese in college for 2 years, and there I used a textbook called Genki. Yeah, there's a textbook called Genki that we non-Japanese use to study Japanese. There are also others, something called like Tobira, maybe? Door, so door to the world of Japanese. I don't know. I used a couple textbooks in my class, and that helped me really grasp the basics of Japanese grammar. So I had a teacher there, my first teacher was American, my second teacher was Japanese, but my teachers really helped me learn the basics of grammar. So I do think if you're starting a language and you need to study the grammar, it's good to have some kind of material. For me, if I just suddenly start speaking with people, it's really hard for me to catch the grammar that they use and to imitate that. So I prefer to have some kind of material to study grammar. Yeah, that's what I was doing for like the first 2 or 3 years I studied Japanese. But that didn't really help with my speaking. Yeah, and that's one of the most important things, right? If you want to travel or make friends with people from a certain country, you need to be able to speak. So how did I learn how to speak? That more so came from, okay, there's an app. I think many of you already know it, but it's called HelloTalk. You guys familiar with this app? Just in case you're not, let me explain. HelloTalk is kind of like a social media for people learning a language. You have a timeline, you can make posts, you can also text people, and you can call people. And you can set your target language. So for me, I want to learn Japanese, and I speak English. So the app would match me with Japanese people who are learning English. So you can help each other learn those languages. And I would make friends on there, talk on the phone. I know it's a little weird, like talking to strangers, but it was super helpful because I could hear a lot of different people's Japanese, right? Everyone speaks differently. So I think it's really good to expose yourself to different accents, speaking to also men and women because they also speak differently. So that was super helpful. I was using this app seriously, like every day, 30 minutes, an hour. If the conversation was good, on the weekend, 2 hours. So I was speaking Japanese a lot. So when it comes down to it, you need someone to speak with you. So using apps or, a teacher is also fine, but you need someone who you can talk to. So just very simply, I learned to speak by speaking. Just speaking a lot, making mistakes. I would, check my dictionary for words while I was talking constantly, a lot of input, learning new words and then saying them. Super effective. So if you can speak even a little bit each day, I think that really kind of pays off in the end. So that was good. And then I just have some notes here. This is not a script. Oh yeah. Of course, this is important. I did study abroad in Japan for 1 year. So when I was a junior in college, that means my 3rd year, I studied abroad in Tokyo and went to a school in Tokyo. So of course, my speaking is getting better and better. The school provided Japanese classes. I'm living in Japan, so I can use Japanese a lot. So that was awesome. But then I came back to the US and I decided I wanted to take the JLPT. Have you guys ever heard of the JLPT? This is the Japanese Language Proficiency Test. This is the most famous test that non-Japanese people take to kind of measure or prove their Japanese skills. So I had just come back from Japan. I thought it's good timing to take the exam. So I studied really hard for that. They have several sections, kanji, grammar, reading, listening, stuff like that. So I bought some textbooks again, and I studied really hard for the exam. And I found that this gave me a lot of motivation, actually. I just came back from studying abroad, and I'm thinking, I'm back in the US. How am I gonna maintain my Japanese skills? Well, taking this as an exam was actually really nice because, it depends on the person, but for me, that gives me a lot of motivation. Okay, I'm paying money to take this exam. I want to get a good score, so I'm going to study hard. And I did. And I was able to pass the N1, which is the most difficult level. But yeah, on the exam, there are a lot of phrases and kanji that you don't use on a daily basis. Exam words that come up on the exam and words you use in daily conversation, very different, right? But still, I found that was very useful as well. So it depends on what you like or what your preferences are. But if you're a kind of person who is motivated to get good grades or a good score on an exam, enrolling for some kind of test or exam or certification, that can give you a boost in motivation, I think. At least it did for me. So that was good. Yep, so I came back to the US, to the JLPT, and and this is not exactly related to my studies, but I was actually going to work in Japan, guys. When I graduated college, I was planning to work at like a regular company. I wasn't planning to be an English teacher, but then COVID hit, and that company, they weren't in a good financial situation, so I could not go to Japan at that time. That was 2020. In 2020, everyone got stuck, right? It's COVID, can't even go outside. Of course, I can't go to Japan. The border is closed. So I was stuck in Kentucky for like 2 years, and I'm thinking, oh, what should I do with my time, and how can I maintain my Japanese skills? So using HelloTalk again, of course, but also I really got into YouTube, watching Japanese YouTubers at that time. And I still remember, this is really funny thinking about it now, but a couple of like series or shows that I like to watch on YouTube in Japanese were Suyobi no Downtown. I watched a lot of the clips on YouTube. I thought they were really funny. And okay, how many people actually watch this? I have no idea how popular this series is in Japan. It's 本当は怖い家庭の医学. Do a lot of people actually watch this? I mean, it's kind of old now, I guess, or is it still ongoing? I have no idea, but I was like obsessed with this series. A lot of medical terms, so not maybe the most useful for daily conversation, but I watched this show a lot. And then just regular YouTubers like Emirin or Tenshimu. Any of you guys watch them? I don't really watch them anymore, but just kind of easy to watch. I don't know, or like kind of girls talk or videos like that I would watch in Japanese. So I really enjoyed watching the videos. So I'd watch them every day, and that really helped my listening ability, I think. So I was practicing speaking on HelloTalk and listening on YouTube. And the key is I was doing this every day. So I think that helped a lot. Okay, so here I do want to talk about how I learned or am learning Korean as well, because this was a very interesting experience for me. I started learning Korean like 5 years ago, and at that time, Japanese was already starting to feel a little easy. I mean, I could speak relatively fluently, but I was starting another language from scratch, from zero. I knew zero Korean. So it felt very strange to me. I was like, oh, is this how I felt when I started learning Japanese? Oh my gosh, this is so frustrating. I can't say anything. It was a really interesting experience to learn another language several years after I started learning Japanese. And I've mostly been using the same strategy, actually. So prioritize speaking, but this time I am taking more like online classes. I take online classes. But I do have a friend. We talk a lot. Shout out to you. You know who you are. Talking to my friend on the weekend and making sure I have a chance to speak. This is number one most important thing for me. What else did I do? Oh, yes. Language podcasts. Of course, I need to talk about this because this is what I am doing here. I listen to a lot of language podcasts nowadays, especially for Korean. When I was learning Japanese, podcasts like this, so for learning a language, for listening, weren't really popular, or they didn't really exist at that time. So nowadays, there are lots of podcasts or videos like mine, right? English podcast, Japanese podcast, Korean podcast. So I find that these videos are super helpful. That's actually one reason I wanted to make these videos, because I use them myself to study. I find them to be very effective. So I use those to practice listening. And I also took TOPIK. So this is like the JLPT. TOPIK is like the Korean language proficiency test. Again, to give me a boost in motivation, to help me kind of see what my actual level was at that time. So yeah, I kind of have been repeating, basically studying Korean the same way that I'm learning, or that I learned Japanese. Yes, I think I covered everything. So I want to kind of summarize here what I have learned or what I found to be the most important for me when learning a foreign language. The important thing is you don't have to necessarily stick to one study method the whole time. You don't have to only use textbooks. You don't have to only use YouTube. You don't have to only take classes. You can go back and forth, mix different methods, or just adjust depending on your kind of life situation at that time. I think it's important to be flexible. So for example, if you have enough money or you have some financial flexibility, you can take classes, that's great, but maybe you don't have a lot of money, you want to study in the most cost-effective way as possible. You want to, just talk to friends. You don't have money for a teacher, so just talking to friends or just using YouTube. Or you have a lot of energy one day or a certain period in your life, so you want to take an exam. You have a lot of time and energy to study, you take an exam. Maybe you're really busy with work, you don't have a lot of energy, so you're just watching YouTube before you go to bed for 20 minutes every day or every other day. Life, our situations change. Generally life is not stable all the time. Things change, so just being flexible, but being consistent. Okay, be flexible, but be consistent. Don't stop. You have to at least continue. You have to do something. So even if, as I said, it's just watching one YouTube video for 10 minutes, that's okay for that day. You need to make it a habit, kind of make it a routine to do something to study that language. Even if it's a little thing, that's okay. So adjust to your situation, be flexible, but be consistent. Make sure to do something every day. I think that's the mindset that I had, or that I especially have now when learning a language. Yeah, just do what you enjoy. Yeah, you gotta enjoy it or you won't want to continue, right? So I think not just necessarily being motivated, but enjoying that process by making friends or finding a YouTuber that you like or expressing yourself. This is super important. So I hope everybody is enjoying learning English, and I hope my videos can also, be a space for you to feel safe to use English and enjoy using English. That's kind of what I want to create here on this channel. Yeah. So today I just spoke very casually about how I studied Japanese and also Korean a little bit. But if there's something I didn't touch on or that you're still curious about, please let me know in the comments. And if you have any tips, something you found to be very useful or helpful while studying English or another language, definitely leave that in the comments. I think we can kind of help each other out, sharing our language learning tips with each other, okay? So let's do that in the comments. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap up the video here. Thank you for watching to the end, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.